This might be the worst example of a Nissan GTR on the planet, and in a few minutes, it's gonna be auctioned off. Don't do it, don't hit me again. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Now on one hand, it's totaled, it's missing parts, and the mods, they are straight out of an Alibaba tuner magazine. But on the other hand, it's totaled, it's missing parts, and it's poorly modded, which means we should, theoretically at least, be able to get a deal on it. All the mods, the MIA parts, we'll get to that stuff. The big mystery with this GTR though is why did it get totaled? In the auction pictures, it just looked like a rough GTR. There was some rear bumper damage, a few dings and dents. Yeah, it makes a little more sense now that we're here. Turns out those dings and dents I saw, they're of the spicy projectile variety. One in the quarter panel, one right through the gecko's tooth.
That's Godzilla.
Pretty sure that's a gecko. And then one right down here in the lower fender. Now, I'm honestly not that concerned with a couple holes in the bodywork. The bigger question though is where did they go after that? And I guess that just became our #1 most pressing issue with this whole thing. So let's do a little bit of crime scene reconstruction here. Ah, that's an alarm. Oh, keys work, it's got battery power. Couldn't tell by the sound of that horn. Now this one that went right in the door, I guess, yep, right there. Well, is that it? That has to be, right? Yep, look, right there. That's where it went. So look, in through the gecko's tooth, out through the door panel, into the seat. Right behind there, there's like a metal reclining mechanism. So that might be as far as it got. I don't see it in the carpet or the trans tunnel or the floorboard, so that's a good sign. Let's see, what about this one up here? This has to be like the least worrisome one. It looks to me it was kind of going downwards, so I bet that really didn't do much of anything. That leaves us with this one back here. If you mess with older cars, especially like older Japanese cars, what's your first thought when you see a hole right here? Antenna,
yes,
right?
100%.
I walked up, oh, somebody ripped the antenna off, then yeah, it's on the roof. These don't have antennas. Ooh, oh, it's our parts. Well, hopefully our parts. I say it's ours like we've already bought this thing. Oh, so that's one of those like tablet deals. That's why it's all off. Okay, all right. All right, this is, look, we'll get to that. That ain't important right here. Right there.
Ooh.
Realistically, my biggest concern right here is if it was like straight down like that and got into the transmission or rear differential area, because of course in these, all that stuff's in the back. It looks like it'd been more likely to come all the way over here somewhere, even though I don't really see it. I don't know. The point is, I guess, that as bad as that might look at first, it's really not that big of a deal. It's just a little bit of body work. I know how odd that sounds to say. This rear lip or diffuser, whatever you want to call it, this got ripped off the bumper. The bumper itself just dented in quite a bit there. But one place we did get fairly lucky is that the rear quarter panel itself, there is no damage except, of course, the obvious one, but it's not all bashed in. Now, we don't know what's going on behind this bumper. Maybe there's some rear bumper beam damage, but judging by this, if that's the worst of it, truly, I don't think there's gonna be anything that serious waiting for us under there.
They took the main part.
Yeah, of course. Would it be any other way? Like, you get cool cars at the auction, most of the time somebody's snatching the badge. Yeah. Now, we have talked a lot about the bad on this car, and I am sure there's more coming, but it wouldn't be right if we didn't talk about one of the nice pieces. When I saw this blue exhaust sticking out the bumper, judging by the quality of the rest of the mods on this thing, I thought it was gonna be some junk, but it's actually a Tomei exhaust system, and that's a nice, expensive piece. You just usually don't see nice stuff like that mixed in with things like these, which, let's be honest, belongs on an Altima, not a GTR. No, we haven't even fired this thing up yet, but we are getting dangerously close to auction time, so we got to get our little station set up here so we can do some.
All right, how much you gonna bet on it?
I don't know. Let's see
you
the
gotta
rest of it first.
What is gonna be your limit?
No, we actually kind of have to get moving on this thing now, though. I don't know what the limit is. Let's see if it runs and all that first. The interior is a wreck, so let's focus on the good. All right. Now, under the hood, we did see some cool stuff in the auction pictures. Now, who knows? It could be cheap junk masquerading as nice parts, but
that's not cheap.
All right. We got tile blow-off valves, an aftermarket intercooler pipe set, aftermarket intakes. And you see their AAM competition. Here in Maryland, they've been around, or had been around till previously, for a very long time. They're pretty huge in the Nissan world, actually. Oh, it's got an intercooler. Check that out. Yup. So the factory intercoolers on these are 2 pieces. This is a big single intercooler, E85. So these cars are extremely fun and fast when they're just bolt-on stock turbo, which it's really hard to see on these. But if you look down there, maybe through there's a better look, you can see the stock turbo heat shield down there. So I'd be willing to bet they're stock turbos. But if this thing has downpipes to go with the exhaust, the intakes, the intercooler pipe, and ethanol, it's probably making like 600, 650 horsepower. This thing probably flies. We are gonna try to start this thing up. Copart lists it as running. Yeah, it's got plenty of oil in it. We're good to go.
Doesn't look clean.
Doesn't need to be clean. I like it dirty sometimes. I did also scope these things out, and we just have to take a second to appreciate them. They're these little cheap dive planes that have been, I think, wood screwed into the front bumper, so that's kind of a shame. And there's also 1 flat tire on it, this front driver one. I don't see any cuts necessarily, and normally we wouldn't even pay attention to a flat tire on a total car like this, but I guess now is probably a good time to mention that we didn't bring a trailer with us today. If everything goes well and we do win this car, we're gonna try to drive it back to the shop. After all, it's only like an hour away. What could go wrong, right? We've only got 6 cars left in front of this thing before it runs. Oh, this window's broken. I thought it was like stuck down or something. Oh, I wonder if... That don't sound good. Okay, anyway, like I was saying, we only have 6, probably 5 now cars ahead of it before this thing runs at auction, so we need to get down to business. Ooh. Never had a Nissan before? Do you not know luxury? Oh. Hold on. Apparently the HVAC is on and working, even with no controls. The car only has 73,000 miles.
Sounds good.
It doesn't sound bad. I don't know what I was expecting, but it sounds better than whatever that was. It sounds really quiet, doesn't it?
Really quiet.
I don't know if this thing will make... What if that bullet went into the gas tank? Oh! It says 0 miles to E. That is a legitimate concern. Either that or they brought it here with really no gas in it. I'm ready to bid. I'm ready to try to win this thing and then find out if there's a hole in the gas tank or it breaks down a mile from the lot. Let's see. Well, all that rushing around, we still have 3 minutes to wait. So we're next up.
Oh.
It's at $31,000 already. Iowa, all right.
Yeah.
Good luck. Now, I don't care how many times you do this, it's always exciting, especially doing it at the lot. This is the first time I've done this. Now, the only other nice, like high mileage GTR I could find that had a rebuilt title was about 55 grand. I don't even know what we paid for this. Like, wrecked, smashed, destroyed GTRs go for like 30 grand sometimes. So I don't see a scenario in which this goes under 40. Be cool if it did.
Where you at right now?
34,750. You never know how this is gonna go. We could have came out here this morning, we could have done all this, and then it could go for $52,000, at which point we're not gonna buy it because it doesn't make sense. Oh, let's go, come on, come on.
Where you at?
Bonus time, bonus time.
Oh.
Bonus, dude, if this thing closes for $35,750.
Steal.
Don't do it, don't hit me again. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes! We got it! $35,750. Oh, that's cheaper than I expected.
Insurance gonna prove it?
Yeah, it's pure sale.
Okay.
So, yeah, this one doesn't have a reserve on it. That means we own this car.
Oh,
we own it.
For 35, dude.
Well, after
wait, that makes sense. R35 for 35. Oh.
Well, after fees, it's going to be something more like, probably like 38.
It doesn't matter. We don't care about fees. It's
let's
35.
get this thing paid up. And let's try to get on the road. I don't hear anything hissing. That's a start. Okay, well, it took air. It's 36 pounds, and it's not like leaking catastrophically, I do think it's probably a good idea if I keep this with me.
Definitely.
Yeah, probably should do that. There's a shift in the second. Third gear. Fourth gear. Fifth gear. Oh, what, sixth gear? We're golden. We made it. We're in there. So there's not a lot of gas stations that have ethanol around here.
This is the one.
I mean, completely unintentional, but
Well.
we might as well.
How do you know it's actually running into that?
How do you know it's running on 93? We're gonna go with it. That way we can get home faster, you know what I mean? I promise you guys, those stains, they were already there. I don't see anything leaking. Then again, if it's a high hole, I guess it could be leaking once we get a little more gas in it. I'll be optimistic. I don't think we have a hole in our tank. I think we're good to go. We got a gym.
Brand new.
Certified gym. All right, 1 hour left. Let's see if she makes it. One thing I can say for sure is the car doesn't feel the way it looks. The steering, the suspension, everything, it feels solid. Even hitting bumps like that, bridge crossings. Oh, there's a pothole. Yep, hit that. There's another one. Maryland roads are great. It feels solid. It really does. And you have that experience while also having everything ripped off around you, glass in the center console, just stuff everywhere. It feels like this car should be significantly worse. We just got one more bridge to cross here and we're home free. Not a single hiccup, not an issue, nothing other than it's got some glass flying around, but a mile left? Dude, yeah! We made it. We're in the business park, and there was one thing I wasn't confident enough to do, so we're back on the right side of town, but here we are. It ain't fast, but it ain't slow.
At least you made it.
There is a lot to digest under here. But before we get into this sick titanium exhaust and whatever they did up here, and just in general start tearing this thing apart to see if, or more likely how much hidden damage we can find, we need to drain the fluids.
Wow. Not a good start?
No, not a great start. This is the second bolt we've removed from this car. Broken bolt. This one's there. This one's there. Missing and or broken. All right.
I mean, it's been leaking.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yep, that checks out. That's about right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that checks out good. Well, that, though it looks like the engine, that's actually the front differential, and it looks like it's probably leaking at that seam right there. Then again, there's definitely fluid back further on it. Who knows if that's just leaking and kind of blowing back. Ooh, here we go. All right. Oh, that ain't bad. At least by this shop standards, it looks pretty good. You know, almost as good as my morning AG1. Oh, I thought we were going to ad break. Yeah, we're going to ad break. AG1's my go-to daily health drink that's clinically shown to support gut health and fill in all them nutrient gaps. With 5 probiotic strains and 75 plus vitamins and minerals, AG1 replaces the need for a multivitamin, probiotics, and more. Just one scoop, water, shake it up, and boom, a full day's worth of nutrition. For me, AG1 just makes things simpler. Instead of the usual mix of vitamins and supplements in the morning and then again at night, I just keep a bag of AG1 on the toolbox and just mix one up before lunch. That was close. Then there's, arguably at least, the most important part, the taste. I was a little skeptical before I tried it a few years back, but genuinely, I love it. And now they got all kinds of new flavors like tropical and berry and citrus, but for me, still team original.
That looks fresh.
Dope. And blue. That's cool. So if you're ready to simplify your nutrition routine, click the link down in the description or scan that QR code and get a free welcome kit, including a bottle of vitamin D and AG1 travel packs when you first subscribe.
Is that like a piece of metal?
So this is our front differential plug, and yeah, it's got like a little material on it. It's actually quite caked on there, but still, nothing serious, nothing you wouldn't expect from a front diff. This is our rear differential plug, and this has basically nothing on it. And the transmission, well, there's not really a place for that to show anything, but it looks good nonetheless. This is just one of those really rare examples of a new project car that kind of, sort of, seems to get better the more we look into it. And literally, as I say that, there is a broken bolt in the front lip, so that's cool. But in general, it applies.
Wow.
Nice. I probably just jinxed the whole thing, right? Now, this also happens to be one of those cars that we kind of bought without a plan. Almost everything here, when we buy it, we know what we're going to do with it. There's more back there. There's not more back there. It's been a minute since I messed with a GTR, can't you tell? Anyway, the SRT10 truck, we bought it the Hemi swap. The Supra, we bought it the Hemi swap. Fernando's 350Z.
We bought it for a Hemi.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. With this one though, there really wasn't a plan. We bought it because it was at the closest Copart yard, GTRs are cool, and it ended up being a pretty good deal. We just kind of hoped the plan would come to us, and come to us it did. We're gonna do something that's so insane, so tough, that's gonna push us to the max that we've frankly never done before, and we're not gonna let this build spiral out of control. Yup. We're gonna make her good as new for under 50 grand. We're gonna get that interior taken care of, fix all the body damage, paint it, and sort out any mechanical issues we happen to find along the way. Now, I know 50 grand seems like a large budget to do all that, right? But when you consider the fact that we've already spent $38,000, the budget is gonna get real tight, real fast. We got less than 12 grand to do basically everything on this car. And paint's gonna take up half that. So yeah, as much as I love incinerating every single dollar that happens to come my way on building cars, I like hunting down a deal and trying to build stuff on the cheap just as much, so I am probably a little too excited about this. Now, I think we actually have a good shot at pulling this off, primarily because it seems like the usual weak link in the GTR, the transmission, is in decent shape. I think there's basically only two things that can throw this whole deal off. Number one is if we pull the bumpers off and there's some type of hidden frame damage or other major body damage. And then number two, our engine. It runs decent. It runs quite well, actually, but there's a lot of leaks. It's high mileage by GTR standards, so we don't really know what we have here. If there's something catastrophically wrong with that, we are cooked. Now, while everything's went, frankly, better than expected so far, there are a few areas of concern under the car. Number one, we got some bent suspension, though I suspect, based on the spacing of it, that's just from the loaders at the salvage auction. That is just kind of the way it goes. Then number two, you can see in a couple different places, our exhaust has a bunch of soot coming out of it. Now, this is a baller exhaust. It's a full titanium Tomei. It's one of the best out there. This one's seen some issues. You see all this soot coming down right there? I am positive that is coming from a crack on that weld right there. And if you follow it up a little bit past the dents, which to be honest is quite normal and something that hangs that low, and come to the front of the mid-pipe, you can see someone has already fixed a pretty severe crack across both of these. It really just doesn't fit all that well. You can see it's been hitting that bracket there. They also had to, clearance this transmission tunnel brace to fit the mid-pipe. You definitely shouldn't have to do that. If I had to guess, maybe these aftermarket downpipes here, like some type of off-brand, and they're just a little too short, and it kind of drew this whole thing up. I don't know. Either way, none of that stuff's particularly hard or even expensive to fix, so it's not that big of a deal. And I don't think there's any other glaring issues under here. It's kind of just that nothing's done well. I mean, generally, if you have to... Wow.
That was on it.
Generally, if you have to... Generally, if you have to stuff a cut-up coupler under your intercooler pipe, it probably doesn't fit that well. Oh, we almost got it. This don't fit great. It's all just not done that well. Like I said, can't be too hard on it, right? It runs, it drives, like can't really ask for much more. No. Now, there is one thing here that's, I'm not gonna say it's an issue yet, but it's definitely confusing. One of the issues these early generation GTRs are known for, outside of course the transmission, is a bell housing rattle, and ours is rattling.
Wait a minute, what is, oh.
Now the fix for that is just to replace the bell housing with a revised version out of a later model GTR.
Easy enough.
Easy. But that looks like it's already been replaced. Compare the metal on the bell housing to the oil pan. It looks, well, about 10 years cleaner. This looks practically new, and really not much else under here does. So if this thing's already been replaced, why does it sound like such a raggedy, rattly piece of shit? Now, we are going to drop this whole engine out of here, so we'll get our answer on that and pretty much everything else. But before we open up that can of worms, I want to pull these bumpers off and make sure there ain't anything ugly hiding under them for us. It's all here, right? It's got the foam bumper impact absorber. Not that we had any reason to think there would be any damage under here, being that the bumper was in decent shape, but with the amount of cars we've seen at the auctions that have, you know, MIG welded on front frame horns and just overall hackery up front, it's nice to see that this one doesn't seem to fit that bill. We were also right about the brand of the intercooler, AAM. That, I guess, is another piece of that radar detector system. Overall, it's clean, at least on the front. Bigger concern though on the potential hidden damage front is of course the rear, given that it got smacked over there. So if we're gonna find something, I think it's probably gonna be back here. Side quest time, we're also gonna get a look at that projectile. Oh man, look at that.
How are we gonna fix that, buddy?
You know how we're gonna fix that?
Uh-huh.
Give it a few taps and forget about it. That's how we're gonna fix that, right? Not to go on another side quest here, but we're on the second channel. We can do this kind of thing, right? That's what it's for. That's about where it should be.
What if they have something in the trunk that was?
Oh, yeah. That actually might be it. Hit the subwoofer, you know?
Is that bad?
I don't know. All right. Let's get down to it. Okay, so what I saw when I looked up there was right here. So that's just how it's designed. From that angle, it looked like this maybe should have been straight, and it was pushed in, but it's not. That's fine. There is nothing back here that's even remotely a big deal. This is our bumper beam. It's aluminum, and this will bend if you look at it the wrong way, and that is perfectly in place. This whole rear firewall, even the side section there, that's all great. The only thing I can see is this little bracket, which is on the outside of what? The charcoal canister, probably is a bumper mount or something. It's a little tweaked up. Not anymore. Yeah, everything's fine. We're 15 minutes into this, right? We've already found our first few points of concern. First, there is a nice little oil leak right there. I suspect that's just a valve cover gasket, kind of checks out for the mileage. Not really a big deal. The more concerning little bit of information we found is this, guys. This is an ethanol content gauge. When we were looking this car over at the auction, kind of in a rush, I mistakenly referred to it as a wideband. There's a wideband in the engine bay.
It's supposed to go up front.
Because, well, it looks like a wideband, except for the giant gas pump on the front of it. Either way, when we saw this thing, you saw that it's an ethanol content sensor. You saw that it was wired to something. One of the first things you do to a GTR these days is add a flex fuel setup to it. And if you see an ethanol content sensor on it, that would imply that it has a flex fuel setup on it, right? And as the word flex would suggest, that lets you run 93 octane, E85, or really anything in between. But let's go ahead and follow this wire that's connected to our ethanol content sensor back through our false firewall, right under there, Yeah, it is only connected to this display gauge, meaning there is no flexing going on here. Well, except the whole gecko on the side, but that's not what we're talking about right now. The point is, this displays your ethanol content, but it doesn't do anything with that information. When you have a properly set up flex fuel system, your car's automatically going to compensate. It's going to change boost levels, timing. It's going to be faster on E85 and more conservative on 93 octane. But on our particular gem of a GTR here, regardless of what fuel's in it, it's running the same exact way. So unless there was a way to change tune maps inside the car that we didn't see that the previous owner was using, there is nothing stopping this car from blowing up if it's tuned for E85 and you put 93 octane in it. We are certainly gonna correct that. So this was in this like a half of a millimeter. As soon as we disconnected it, it just went, almost cracked Fernando in the head, actually. Yeah. This probably does explain, though, why those exhaust tips stick out so freaking far. This whole section of the exhaust needs to come up this way a lot. Oh, that's sick.
It's light.
It is.
That's really light.
Whole titanium.
Oh, yeah. That'll look way less stupid now. Look at all that clearance there now, too. That would have been a simple fix. Just noticed this when we're up here working with the drive shaft, and I know it's going to be kind of hard to see, but we have some aftermarket high flow catalytic converters in there. The one on this side, it looks to be pretty decent. That one, again, hard to see, but it's blown back like an inch. It's coming off on the sides and it's like all coned out in the middle. So I guess we just found ourselves another thing we have to replace.
Thing weighs a ton. That's heavy.
They're heavy and look terrible. Not good.
Yeah, it's not a good combination, right?
No, not at all.
That's a lot of meat on. Yeah. There's a lot of meat on there.
Okay.
I'm game with leaving those front rotors. They're not bad, but come give these a feel. Yeah, ooh, indeed, right? Ooh.
Ooh. You ruined it.
Yeah, right.
You ruined it. Well, the best part is that it's over top of a painted.
I know.
Is this the pull one or the twist one?
You gotta twist it.
Hold on. If you know and him and I don't, doesn't that mean you should do it?
Who's the GTR expert?
Huh?
Who's the GTR expert?
Literally nobody. There you go. Done. It's not even broken, is it?
Nope. You see? There's the clips that I was talking about.
See? Nissan guy.
Do you ever touch it in the right way?
All right, Fernando, I need you to give me one here.
What?
Give it a...
Well,
So this is on you if you
no,
go
this
somewhere.
is the first one that I kind of don't want to say it.
So since we're taking just the front drivetrain out of this and leaving everything in the rear, these things have a tendency to, you know, go like that off the lift. We don't want that to happen, so we shored it up with a $2.50 ratchet strap.
So
she ain't going...
That's going somewhere.
yeah, thank you.
It's not going anywhere. Okay, I'll say it. She ain't going any... She ain't going anywhere, all right? We're good. All right, so we should be free. I am... What do you think, Fernando? 90% positive we forgot something, though?
I would say 95.
I worked on one of these a long time ago, and you guys have came back to a car after not touching it for a while. It feels familiar, but not familiar enough. As you're working on it, things are kind of coming back to you. You might remember a certain wire routing or something, but you're never really sure. You got to relearn it all over again, kind of, unless you messed with a bunch of them. But I think we're there. If you look around the sides of the engine, there's nothing connected. All the way up front, we're good. There's that power steering line right here. That's going to come with the engine. We've got all of our power wiring, fuel lines disconnected, emissions lines disconnected, heater hoses disconnected, this big emissions line back there disconnected. That's right there. I think we're good. Oh yeah, she was just stuck. Is that car? The front of that car is coming up, right?
Yep.
Okay.
She ain't going nowhere.
A lot of things moving around.
There is, yeah.
Which is a little bit disconcerting.
Is it? Alright. We're like roughly off the engine. Let's do a quick. We're good.
You don't
That
look
says she ain't
confident.
Yeah, we're good.
Hold on. How should I look? She ain't going nowhere. Now, how f***ing perfect would it be if it just went off?
Alright. Don't go higher.
Oh, all right. Get this out of here real quick. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Brake fluid to the neck. Cool.
I'll call that a win.
Oh yeah, big win. Big win. That's kind of the crazy part about these. They look complex. But Tim, this was your first time pulling one of these, right?
Yeah.
Ain't worked on one before. This was, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard of an engine pull?
3.
Easy,
Very
right?
easy.
And the funniest part about this is when these cars first came out, because they had a transaxle and everything was in the rear, people talked about them like they were spaceships. Now, although they turned out to be fairly easy to work on, they were not cheap. The GTR tax was a very real thing, and it's probably only like the past 5 years where it's started to kind of come down a little bit, and they've become, I'm not going to say economical, because that's definitely not the right choice of words. It's no Hemi, it's no LS, right, Fernando?
Exactly.
But better by GTR standards. Those lines need to get slapped off there already. Nope, nope, we're good. Let's see what we're working with here. Ooh, ooh. Well, that front diff leak is, well, about as bad as expected. It looks like it's primarily coming from that seal there. I mean, it's just kind of like old and dried out. It's ran all down the bottom. That is quite gross, actually. Now, that theory earlier about this bell housing being newer, now we can also compare it to the engine block, and still, this looks new, shiny. It has to have been replaced. Right back there, that is the VIN plate. And it's definitely the original engine to the car. So given that there's nothing modified on this that you would have had to pull the engine for, the downpipes, you can do those in the car. I'm saying this is the first time this has ever been out. And I know this thing didn't look super squeaky clean underneath, but outside of this front diff leakage and that real heavy valve cover leakage, it's kind of dry. It's actually better than I expected. After seeing all that, I almost assumed we were going to find a lot more going on with it, but it doesn't look to be the case. So one other thing these cars are just notorious for is breaking the studs on the turbo manifold when you do this. I do feel a lot better about our chances on this one, being that they've been off before. Hell yeah. Nice. Oh! Whoa!
Wow.
That's part of your problem.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice. Ooh! That turbo feels nice. For 70-some thousand miles, that is a very small exhaust wheel. But that is tight. All right, that's what it's supposed to look like. That looks good. 2 good turbos. All right, that's going to be good on the budget. Now we yanked this bell housing off there. Trying to figure out what's up with it. I think, oh. I mean, there's some noise there, but I've seen these where they are like moving up and down a ½ inch, and in comparison, this isn't that bad. I was obviously hoping to find some smoking gun. I was hoping this thing was just gonna be flopping around like that. It's not, but definitely gonna have to figure it out and address it before we get this thing back together.
Really saving the day with the Mopar bolts over here.
What's new?
Always.
Yeah, what's new? Mopar saving the day. Could have told you that, you know? Looks
looks like someone modified the factory fuel line to install the ethanol content sensor. And at the actual regulator, it's seen some better days.
Yeah, that's not great. So yeah, I think that is a fuel pulsation dampener. I could be wrong on that. This is definitely getting put on the replacement list. Now this over here, I believe, is our fuel pressure regulator, and you can see the line go into it. It is like almost jelly, gummy feeling, and it's been sitting on something there, and it's got real thin, so we're gonna have to replace that as well. Even over here, it is all cracked up and brittle. I bet it's just gonna break. Well, no, it actually came off like it was supposed to, but that feels, well, not like you want your rubber hose that your fuel pressure depends on to feel like. So you don't technically have to pull this entire upper intake manifold off to pull the coil packs, do the plugs, leak it down, and all that fun stuff. You can just do the throttle bodies, and then you can yank it all out. But I see some aftermarket injectors in here, and I want to get a better look at them. Always. I know in the grand scheme of things, 70,000 miles isn't a lot, but like, you hear that about a performance car, especially one like a GTR, and you start thinking, oh, some ragged out, high mileage piece of trash, and this doesn't look that way. It looks nice. We don't really have to pull these injectors out, but one, I want to know what they are for sure, and two, we don't know how long this thing's been sitting. It couldn't hurt to have them cleaned. They are filthy. Let's slap this little seat off. Injector dynamics, 1050s. Well, that checks out for like a full bolt-on 85 car, right? Small-ish injectors, but very high-quality injectors. We'll send them out, have them cleaned, throw them right back in the engine. There is a point when this could all start going downhill. It's right about now. Let's pull these plugs out of here. But I'm gonna stay optimistic, right? Feel good, Fernando?
Yes.
I feel good. I feel good. Everything about this makes me feel good. What's that noise for?
Look at that.
It's just a little oil. We know the valve cover gaskets leak, you know?
That's fine.
Yeah. That's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Did you hear? This one's got a little oil inside. It kind of wiped off my finger there, but you see on the tip? This is definitely the oiliest of the bunch. Yeah, everything's great. Everything's great. If there's one to be even mildly concerned about, it's this rearmost cylinder. I guess it's number 6. Figure why not? We got to replace these gaskets anyway. Let's pull the valve covers and see how it looks inside. That was a nice crunch. I'm giving that a, I don't know, like a 7 out of 10. It checks out for the mileage. It's not, you know, minty fresh, but why would it be, right? Cam lubes look awesome.
Like, the oil's dirty, but there's no long change interval issues.
If this had ran on clean oil previously, I think it would look really good in here. That probably does, like, account for most of the dark in there.
Yeah.
This is number 6, the one that had all that oil on the plug. It's not new, obviously, right? And it's a little oily down there, but it's just not that bad. A lot of carbon. You see the valves. I know how to fix that.
How?
Fire it up, run her hard. It'll seal it right up. We'll get that oil out of there one way or another. Now, is this car perfect? No. Is $38,000 cheap? Also, no. But I think this is as good of a deal as you could ever hope to get. There's a tow hook there. I think this is as good of a deal as you could ever hope to get from a GTR at the salvage auction. Now, I think we legitimately have a shot to pull this off and have a fully gone through GTR for under 50 grand if we manage to do it.
That would be the best part.
Yeah, you certainly can't buy one for that. So if we manage to get the job done here, we'll be in a decent financial position on a build for once. Might actually be the first time ever. I love the auction. 10,000 likes on a comment. I will fucking wood screw. Nope. I thought people stopped planking in like 2015.